Hi folks, this is Vicki from Pattern Princess, and today is going to be a beautiful shawl day. I'm going to show you how to make this. I'm calling it a tropical summer evening shawl. And the reason I'm calling it an evening shawl, it's actually a little bit thicker, but the colors really are just, the name of the yarn is actually tropical. It's by Lion Brand Landscapes. There's 4 skeins to make this shawl. It would be 588 yards that I've used. I've used a K size crochet hook. It's 36 inches from the tip this way all the way to the tip on this side, and then the width, the longer part, is 52 inches wide. And so you can see and it's an asymmetrical shawl. Okay, where I just have the addition of the additional stitches on one side. So it uses double crochet, and so I think that it's something that just about anybody could work. And once you work the first, once you work the first 9 rows, you're going to continue repeating rows 8 and 9. And I actually had to write out my instructions to tell you, to make sure I don't goof this up as I'm telling you. But once you get to the 9th row, then you're going to just repeat 2 rows. As you see, there's 3 double crochet here, then you're going to chain 1 and skip 1. But then you always add on one side here, and then this side is straight. So we're going to work the first 9 rows here. And you can see it just continues to grow. And because this yarn has so many pretty colors all the way through it, I didn't have to worry about trying to choose colors to go together on this. It just magically happened all on its own. And so I hope that you enjoy making this. So I'm going to show you here how to work this. So I just have some white yarn here, because I've been told sometimes in my videos, if I work with a darker yarn, it's harder for some folks to see. So I'm just going to go with the white yarn and hope that this helps folks see it. So the very first thing I'm going to do is start with the slip stitch on my hook. So I always bring my fingers through, bring them around, insert my hook, and then just bring one of the loops through. And I have my slip stitch. And we'll snug that up a little bit. So very first thing we're going to do, the very first row, is to chain 4. We can do that. So yarn over and we go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to join to the beginning chain, and that's going to form a ring. So we're going to slip stitch into here and slip stitch through, and that forms a little ring. See, there's a little bitty ring right there. Okay, and that now we're going to chain 1, but this does not count as a stitch. And I got my tail on the way here. Let me move my tail to the other side because it's bothering me. There we go. Okay, chain 1, that does not count as a stitch. And we're going to work 4 double crochet inside the ring. So yarn over and then go into the ring, yarn over again. We got 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, bring it through 2 loops, and yarn over through 2 loops. And that's our first double crochet. Yarn over, go in to the ring, yarn over, bring a loop through, yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over through 2 loops, and that's 2 double crochet. Yarn over, go through the middle, yarn over, bring it through, yarn over through 2 loops, and yarn over through 2 loops. That's 3. Yarn over, we're going to go through the loop again. Now we got 3 loops. Yarn over, go through 2, and yarn over, go through 2. Now we have the 4 double crochet on the ring. Now we're going to turn it. Now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2. Then we're going to double crochet in the first 3 double crochets, and then work 3 double crochet in the last. So including that very first, we're not going to skip it. So because one of the things I forgot to tell you is that the chain 2 at the beginning of each row does not count. It does not count as a stitch. Therefore, we're going to start right here in the first one. Pardon me, I'm sorry I forgot to tell you that. So anyways, so a double crochet in the first 3. So here we go. 1, and then we're going to yarn over, 2, yarn over, 3. Okay, 3 double crochets. Now we still have the stitch hanging over here, and in that stitch here, we have to do 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3. So we should have 6 double crochet. We're not going to count that first chain 2. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're right. Okay. Now to row 3. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and remember that does not count as anything. Then we're going to do 2 double crochets right in that first stitch. I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook, bring the yarn through 2 loops, and bring it through 2 loops. That's 1 double crochet, yarn over, insert right back in that hook, go through 2 loops and 2 loops, 2 double crochet. Next we're going to do a double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So we're going to yarn over and do a double crochet, and then the next stitch. Then we're going to chain 1 and skip 1 stitch, and then we're going to double crochet in the last 2 stitches. So here we go, double crochet and a double crochet. And remember, we had started with that chain 2, so that doesn't count anything. That just kind of acts as a filler and kind of keeps things nice and even looking on the edges. So we should have 6 stitches. And remember, on this side, we don't count that first chain 2. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6. We're doing good. All right, turning it, going to row 4, chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to double crochet in the first stitch. And we're going to double crochet in each stitch across. So here we go. That's easy enough, right? And we got that. When I get to the stitches here, that have the chain 1, I just go in that big loop area and put my hook. I don't worry about getting it in that little loop right there. Because it just, I don't know that maybe it looks a little different, but I found that it's just quicker and easier to do. And then in the very last one, we're going to work 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3. So now we should have 9. So 1, because remember we don't count that. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 stitches and we're done with row 4. And I got to move my notes. Excuse me, we're moving on to row 5. I'll get some more yarn here. And remember, when we get to rows 8 and 9, those are the 2 repeating rows that we're going to repeat. So this is just the first part to setting it up. It takes a little bit of time here, but it's okay. It's going to look really nice. And this part here too, when you weave in your yarn, because you have a little knot here, you could pick the knot out and weave in your yarn. But I found if I just bring it in right here and start to weave it in, it really becomes invisible and you cannot see that knot. So just a hint when you're weaving in your yarn later on. So all right, so row 5, chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to double crochet into the first stitch, and then we're going to chain 1 and skip 1, and then do double crochet in the next 3 stitches. Okay, 2, 3. Okay, and then we're going to chain 1, skip 1, yarn over. We're going to double crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. And how many do we have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's how many we should have. And I do have the pattern count on these first rows like this to help you get started with the rows, to make sure that you have the right numbers, because sometimes that can be confusing. So, all right, we're on to the next row. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to double crochet in the first stitch and double crochet in each stitch across. And remember, when I did the chain 1 space, I just put my yarn right in my hook right in that chain 1 space. I did not, and you could go through the actual stitch itself, the chain 1, but sometimes because I'm using the bigger hook, it becomes quite cumbersome, quite hard to do. And so I'm going to get my stitch in here. And then in the very last one, we're going to work 3. So there was 1, 2, 3. And let's do our count. So we don't count that, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I have that we should have 11 at the end of this row. So again, we're doing good. We're going to turn it. We are now under row 7 already. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to do 2 double crochet in that very first stitch. So yarn over, go into that first stitch. There's 1 and the second. There we're going to chain 1 and skip 1 and then a double crochet in the next 3. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1, skip 1, and another double crochet in the next 3. 2, 3. And a chain 1 and a skip 1, and then that very last one we're going to do 2 double crochet. Okay, that kind of brings it out and makes it a little bit more even on that side. We're going to turn. I suppose I should count them first here for you. We should have 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're doing good on row 7. So row 8, we're going to chain 2. 1, 2, double crochet in the first stitch. Okay, and then we're going to double crochet in each stitch across. And then remember, I just stick my hook in that chain 1 space. And then we just do our double crochet, whoopsies, and each stitch across. And then remember, this row 8 here is the beginning row of what you're going to repeat. You're going to have one row of solid double crochets like this, and the next one's always going to be the 3 double crochets in the chain 1. You'll always have the spacing, but it's a little bit offset excuse me, because of the initial chains at the end. Excuse me. So at the very end, we're going to work 3 double crochet in that very last stitch. 1, 2, 3, and let's see if we have 15. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That is a very good sign. And our next one here is row 9, and again, remember, rows 8 and 9 is what you're going to be repeating. So here we go. We're going to chain 2, and then 2 double crochet in that first stitch. And then we're going to chain 1, skip 1, and a double crochet in the next 3 spaces. I got to say that right. 2, 3. Chain 1, skip 1, and a double crochet in the next 3 spaces. And of course it doesn't look very pretty just using this white yarn here, but chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next 3 places. But if you use a pretty yarn that variegates itself on its own, or just looks really a lot prettier than just this white yarn, you come up with a beautiful product in the end. Chain 1, skip 1, and now we're going to skip that, and then we're going to do a double crochet in the very last one. So this is going to be your pattern all the way throughout these 2 rows right here. So when we turn it, we're going to turn, and then we're going to do our double crochet, and then we're going to do a double crochet in the first stitch and all the way across with 3 double crochet in the end, and then we'll flip it, and then we'll repeat row 9. And you can see where these chain 3s are offset a little bit. That kind of gives a nice little offset flow to it. So I think it's a really pretty shawl, and I hope that you have a chance to try and make one yourself. But you can see how they're a little bit offset each one. And again, here's the edges. I think that the edges turned out nice too. So thank you very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. The written pattern will be on the website. So always, if something wasn't clear on what I was showing you or what I said, please make sure you also reference the written pattern. I always try and make sure I have that in the comments for you as well. So thank you very much and have a wonderful day.